Hello, my name is Bubzia, and today I want to show you my 100% PB that I got conveniently yesterday. And this will be the first time I am watching this, and I will provide live commentary to what is happening, to the run in general, Metroid Fusion as a speed game, and about all the different blindfolded strategies I use, and boss fights, and audio setups, and everything else that is worth mentioning. I will just start right away, because the run is fairly long. And with this video I wish to have a submission video for different marathons like GDQ and the Metroid Marathon, coming up both in June. So I hope you enjoy. No practice whatsoever. Right away we can see that we do not start from a new game file, but from a in-game time 000 file, which basically just means that we watch the initial cutscene of the game and reset at the very first text box, so we do not have to watch the 5 or 6 minute cutscene every single time. It is still the full game, and when we start this file we'll be at the very first text box again. And as you can see in the down right corner, this is me with my blindfold. And yeah, I've been doing blindfolded speedruns for around 3 years now, and Metroid Fusion is a big project of mine since around 3 months. And I've done the same commentary for any percent already, but I hope I can still repeat everything in a good way for 100% too. So I will just relax a bit and enjoy the ride myself, because I'm very curious to this run. I haven't seen it myself, as you might tell. But yeah, the biggest difference between this run and the visual speedrun, of course, is, as you can see, I am blindfolded and I do not see what is going on. I navigate through these rooms mostly with audio and memory. Very much of this movement is counting the footsteps of Samus. As you can hear, they are in about a 240 BPM rhythm. If you just listen to the footsteps, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I use techniques like that to navigate through all the rooms and to not get lost. I basically have strategies for every single room in the game, and also backups and everything, so I've done this for quite a while now. I have gotten pretty used to it. What is also very good in this game for blindfolded is the ability to ledge grab, because you can very easily normalize yourself on edges. You just need to jump left and right with normalized jumps, and if you hit a corner of an edge you can just get up. In comparison to other games I've done blindfolded, for example Metroid Zero Mission, where you first need to upgrade yourself to be able to grab edges. So yeah, as you can see, I am just running. Right now it's just basic movement. The game has very different difficulty curves. It gets very, very difficult at the beginning, then more easy, then very difficult again, and then it stays difficult for all the time. So the first thing we need to do is grab our missiles, because story-wise Samus got infected by a virus on a mission, I think, and then she got healed and her suit was damaged, I think. I'm not very sure about the story myself, but then now she has... So I can save like some time just with movement. And sorry if I talk a bit very bad, so I lost a lot of time in cleanup. But we got first try RNG escape, so I will need all the time save I can just for randomness, which sucks. I'll try not to talk over myself in the video, which is harder than I thought, because I usually do not talk during runs, because I have to focus. I run this so much, and I can't PB. Same with any percent. It's so hard to PB just because of the random factor. But yeah, we just grabbed our missiles. There's a lot of these text boxes with the computer, as you might see. It's called Adam. It is our quest giver or mission advisor, so he always tells us where to go and everything. And a lot of normalized movement through the different rooms of the game. Now I have missiles, which are much stronger than our current beam, but we only have 10. We will very soon grab a few missile tanks that upgrade it by increments of 5. So we have a bit more for the first boss coming up, which is the boss for Morph Ball. And right away, very interesting, is the first eye door, because bosses are guarded by these eye doors you can see in a second. Right here to the right side of the screen. And they shoot these lasers, and it's a 50% chance if they open their eye and shoot the laser. Like this. This is the open eye, and then it's vulnerable. So it's a 50% chance. And this exact eye door right here, before the first boss, is, in my opinion, the most dangerous one, because we only have 99 energy. And it's very easy to die there. In a marathon setting, I will definitely take a safety save before this eye door, because I lost a lot of runs already just to simply dying there. There are these zombies respawning and the eye door. And now we set up a quick kill for the first boss with this positioning here. And then we just spam missiles into his face. And it didn't quite work out. I think it's a few damage off. Yep, a few beams. So a very weird fight, for sure. Boss fights in Metroid Fusion are generally always in the same pattern. There is a boss, and after you defeat the normal boss, a core spawns, or an orb if you want. And this orb is only vulnerable by missiles, and you have to hit it a few times and it follows you and all these kind of stuffs. So yeah, a bit more about Blindfolded. As you can see me navigating through all these rooms here, I use very different kind of audio cues. As I said already, mostly steps, ledge grabs, enemy sounds, door sounds. Door transitions are always very useful because you always exactly know where you are in the room, of course. It's also very good to reset a room in case you get lost, for example. And I often also count the background music, which varies in BPM, but I have them all memorized, so it is fine. Very often I also count by damage beats, so if I get damaged or damage boosted by an enemy, for example, I count the time differences between the attacks of the enemy. And like this, I just make my way through the game. It's a very fluid movement at this point, so for me it's very hard to describe what exactly is going on, because I am just so used to playing blindfolded and executing my strategies. As you might see, it looks all very fluid, like I sometimes myself don't notice that I watch a blindfolded run, honestly. But here is Sykes, our main opponent in this game. It's an exact copy of Samus, and it is the very scary enemy, and the game tells us to be afraid and to fear it, and whenever we hear it and see it, we should just run away and not try to fight. But yeah, here we have the main hub area of the game. It's categorized in 6 different sectors, from 1 to 6, and each sector has like an individual theme going on. 4, for example, is the water level, Sector 3 is like lava, 1 is more like the vegetation forest thing. And we go here to get our charge beam upgrade. It is mostly in this game, like in all different kind of Metroidvanias, that we run through the world, fulfill a few quests, and collect upgrades on our way to get stronger, to access again new places, etc. And Metroid Fusion is no exemption. It's a very linear game, to be fair. The any percent route and the 100% route kind of follow the same path, just what items you collect is different. And at the very end there is a big cleanup section in 100%, which makes it so different to any percent. And in the cleanup section it also gets extremely impressive and cool with different speedrun tricks that we use. But right now we just grab a few more E-tanks and missile tanks and continue our way through Sector 1, in which our goal is to clear 5 of these ventilation paths. And in this room I will carefully destroy these 3 enemies because they take a lot of health and I failed the 3rd kill. And Sector 1, 2 and 4, the first 3 sectors, are in my opinion the most difficult ones, because at the beginning we have not much health. As you can see, I am only at 1 E-tank and 70 energy. And especially in Sector 1, it's the difficulty is in maintaining a healthy missile count while also still having a lot of health left. So you will see me here and there going for a bit of detours to grab a few enemy drops to get more missiles or more health. Because the goal is, before the next boss, we need at least 3 missiles left. Because there's an eye door again, as previously there was. But we need 3 missiles and a bit of health for damage boosting to defeat it in one cycle, basically. If not, we need to go out of our way, exit the area and farm a bit, which of course takes like a minute maybe and loses a lot of time. And at this point the run is pretty optimized in terms of movement, so a minute of time loss is unacceptable at this point for sure. But yeah, more movement. This room is one of the first RNG heavy rooms because the pirates that climbed the walls left and right, you can see me checking for the sound of the beam hitting a pirate. We kind of need to defeat them all, and they jump from left to right, as you could see here, and they shoot beams, and that was very close, honestly.
That's okay. It's very good actually.
So you have to make your way up there, and if you get hit you fall all the way down, so... and you lose a lot of health. But that was pretty good. So upcoming will be the first boss, where we fight, and as you can see we have 6 missiles, which is just 3 more than we need to have, and it is very tight on the missile count in Sector 1. You can hear me clicking the missile button here in order to check if I actually still have missiles. Very bad Idor RNG, 50% as I said, and he shot like 4 times in a row.
That was like 7 beams.
And Idors drop red refills, which always refill like most of your health and missiles. Here's our first core boss, also an orb. Those bosses mostly protect beam upgrades. They have like this eye in the middle and they shoot, and you can only hurt it in shooting a missile into its open eye. What I use as a strategy there is the boss makes sounds while flying, and every 2.5 iterations of this particular boss sound, the eye opens. So I just go right and left for 4 steps, wait for the 2.5 boss sounds to play out, and then I shoot, turn around and shoot. And it works pretty well, as you could see in this pretty good fight. Now we just need to leave Sector 1 in the speedrun, defeat 2 more of these ventilations, now 1 more. And then we have fulfilled our mission in this sector and can proceed to Sector 2. And until then, it is just more blindfolded movement. A lot of normalized jumps, as you can see here, for example. I just use the jump plus left and right, so that I always exactly know where I am. And yeah, there is not much more going on in Sector 1, so I will take the time a bit and talk about myself. I've been doing blindfolded speedruns for around 3 years now. I've joined the blindfolded speedrun community and watched it grow. I am now in the position of a moderator there, and I have fulfilled more than 20 different games in 40 different categories blindfolded. And I even, since last year, participated in a lot of live events, especially online marathons, but also last December, to my biggest pleasure, I could travel to RTA in Japan, the big offline speedrun marathon in Japan, and I was able to showcase blindfolded Deltarune in front of 30,000 live viewers on stream and about 100 in the venue. It was amazing. The crowd was extremely happy and excited to see a blindfolded speedrun. It felt very good to showcase it. And even on Twitter, blindfolded speedrunning got a how do you say, a trending keyword on the Japanese Twitter. It was pretty cool. And as you can see in Fusion, back to the game again, there are a lot of these elevators and the computer cutscenes, which would be perfect time for little breaks in a marathon, just to clear your mind, let the commentators read a few donations or something like that. I think it's the perfect mix and break in such a fast pace to the game run, like this is. And now we are in Sector 2, where we get 2 different upgrades actually. The bombs for our morph ball and the high jump, which is extremely good as an item, especially for blindfolded 2 in terms of movement. And it is very good that we get it so early in the run compared to, for example, Metroid Zero mission, where it's an upgrade that is way later. Because in blindfolded, when we learn rooms by memorizing the layout and the strategies, if you have high jump very late and you basically have to memorize rooms in 2 different ways, because your jump height varies, and for example, in a room where 1 jump would be enough with high jump, you would need 2 jumps with the normal jump. So it's very good that we get it early, so we don't need to memorize the same room in different strategies. And you will see me walk through Sector 2 pretty fluently, but what is noticeable is that I kill a lot of enemies. And that is again because these enemies in Sector 2 do a lot of damage in the normal difficulty that we play. And we kind of need a lot of health because it's pretty dangerous, and missiles are not so needed anymore. That's why I mostly use missiles to kill the enemies. It takes 2 shots for each, or a charge beam plus a few normal beams if it's hit correctly. As you can see, any enemy hit gives like 50 damage, which is kind of a lot. We only have 3 E-tanks and it's pretty easy to die. So we just slowly kill everything in our way and proceed as fast as possible. And very soon we get the bomb upgrade, and it will be the first difference between 100% and any percent in terms of upgrades. Because we'll collect a few missile tanks that we don't usually collect in any percent.
You are 43.5 seconds ahead of bomb.
So yeah, bombs, as in every Metroid game, if you are a morph ball, you can press B to place a bomb. Like here. And with that we gained the ability to destroy a few more blocks to access areas we were not usually supposed to go so far. And that was a missile tank. Excuse me, a bit of a dry throat. But yeah, here also difference between any percent and 100%. I kind of missed. Ah, I see. There is a hidden passage in this wall that you need to shoot. There it is. So just more movement. I have basically strategized every single room in the game with different inputs that I need to perform in order to proceed through the room safely. But I also, of course, have the whole layout of all the rooms memorized, so in case something goes wrong, I can easily back up everything. I'm very confident in my ability to back up every single room in this game. Here we play a bit more carefully, as you can see, just to get past all these enemies in our way. And it's looking pretty good so far, very fluent movement. Lately I've been grinding a lot of 100%, so the movement looks definitely way better than it did in the beginnings of the game, when I started running. And here's another change for any percent. There is a missile tank hidden here, but there is this blue worm enemy that will appear very soon. There is, and it is very strong. You can see me spamming missiles. There it goes. This enemy does a whole E-tank of damage if it hits you. That's why I stand safely in this corner there, where it cannot reach. And just spam everything I have to get rid of it. And upcoming is a very interesting boss fight, the first boss fight with actually blindfolded strategies, which is very cool. But until then, I will be quiet for a while and just let you enjoy the amazing audio this game has, so you have the true blindfolded experience. Just focus on the audio. No save. As you might be able to tell, there are a lot of different audio cues, like when you land there is a distinct sound, when you grab an edge, when you walk, when you kill enemies, when you shoot something. And it's very good for blindfolded. And here we are with the first boss fight, with crazy blindfolded strategies. This boss is pretty random. As you can see, he jumps. And he jumps in a random amount of times, a total of 11 I think, in 3 rounds. But we damage boost in the corners and lure him above us, so when he opens finally his mouth, we just need to press left a bit and shoot up, so we always hit him exactly in the mouth. This was phase 1, 3 hits. Now in phase 2, he jumps kind of not randomly, but he jumps away from you, so we need to walk around 2 steps and then shoot up. Here I missed. It's very difficult to hit. And it takes around 2 to 3 hits too. There we go. And that's it. And as with every boss, the core, the orb at the end, just missiles hurt him, and then they get invulnerable for a certain amount of time while they are blinking. And there is the high jump.
4.0 seconds ahead.
That was a very bad fight. As you can see, we can jump very high right now. Much higher than before. And yeah, what is upcoming is the first Sykes encounter. Right here. Also very amazing footstep sound. Around 120 BPM, very distinct sound effect. And we skipped it. In just damage boosting through it. We lost a lot of health because of it though, so... Vertical movement in Metroid games, blindfolded, always a lot of normalized jumps left and right. As you might see. Because compared to horizontal movement, vertical is of course way more difficult to track down in your mental eye. What I haven't talked about yet in terms of missiles is that since we got missiles at the beginning, we kind of earned the ability to echolocate walls. Because missiles have a very distinct sound in how long they travel through air. And what I mean is, if you stand far away from a wall and shoot a missile, you can measure the time, how long it takes for the missile to explode. And like that you can kind of picture the room if you in case get lost, for example. You can check the walls for how the room looks and what is going on actually. And yeah, a little bit of a break again, cutscenes, elevators, the usual. Yeah, sorry if my voice is a bit dry, but my throat is kind of very dry. A lot of talking lately. But we are entering Sector 4 now. The water world, and everyone loves water levels. Or not. And Sector 4 is very, very scary. But not so scary as an N%, because we pick up an extra E-tank in 100% here on the way, which helps a lot with the next boss fights. Takes about 50 seconds to grab it. And I guess I don't save. Oh yeah. I was thinking about saving here, just for safety, but I didn't, because I forgot. No mistakes about. And here I got confused because I used the damage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used the damage beat to measure when I have to jump. But I thought I got hit by one of the enemies first. Which I now see didn't happen, of course, but... And this is the big difference between any percent now. We have to go through the upper part of this room instead of the lower part and grab one E-tank on our way. And as you can see, water slows down our movement a lot, which is very inconvenient for sure. A few wall jumps and then we are there.
Those rooms are the worst rooms in the whole game, I swear.
Yes, these rooms are very tedious to run blindfolded for sure. Especially underwater movement, a lot of the audio gets eaten, so you can't really hear footsteps. And everything is slower, and these fish are very random and aggressive. I set up kills for those two enemies because they are always in our way. And here I get confused of where I am. Oh god, this is not good. Got hit a lot and oh, I even fell down here. But I have a general idea where I am, so I can easily back up. I just lost a lot of health. God. That's generally the case in this game. There's a lot of micro RNG of enemies, like how they shoot, how they move and stuff. But it only loses like fractions of time and a bit of health. It's never that dangerous that a run could possibly end. There are also bosses where you can lose like more than a minute if you die. But in general, RNG is very minor in this game, besides one section later in the run that I will point out. And another missile tank that is not present in any percent, because it's kind of a little detour. For comparison, any percent picks up around 26 to 28% of all items. 100% collects all, so there is much more content in. If you think about it, not so much more time, as the 100% record of mine personal best is just 40 minutes longer than my any percent. So there's a lot of gameplay packed in a very tight space of time. Here I just navigate through the rooms, get rid of the enemies, get knocked down a bit, listen for the ladders. Ladders also do very great audio, so you can hear how you climb and how long you climb and all.
Okay, we're safe at least.
And I want to point out that if you're interested, also feel free to look at the input display in the down left.
The fuck?
Because I use it very often to see like what exactly is going on my controller. I think it's a very great feature to have, especially when blindfolded. You can see, and then you rewatch a run and you can see like actually what happened with your fingers, just in case you are interested. Here we set up a quick kill for the eye door. Oh, and we get it! Oh, I got the flare kill, that's super cool. This is usually the eye door takes 2 hits, but very impressive boss fight coming also. We set up the first hit. Boom, in the face. We counted by the background music 6.5 beats. And now the boss gets pretty random, because it gets out of the water kind of randomly in different patterns. But what I do is, after he comes out of the water, I wait for 2 beats and then I shoot a charge momentum missile to the right. And in like 3 out of 6 patterns it hits, like this. And afterwards he gets invulnerable for a time and fast as hell. And it's definitely just random. It is easy to die in this boss fight. It's one of the harder fights of the game. Blindfolded, at least.
I
think I'm down, dude. There we go.
Maybe not.
And again, the usual orb fight after the boss. But very low HP, as you might see. But that's the boss fight without dying. Very good. It's a very impressive boss fight, for sure. There is so much randomness going on and you just have to kind of hope that you get good patterns. But the save point is right before the boss, so even if you die you lose maximum like a minute or 1.5. And now we have the ability to speed boost and shine spark, like here. After 11 steps you gain more speed, and you can store the speed while pressing down and use the stored speed to kind of a boost through the air, which we will see a lot in the 100% run, especially because a lot of the very cool speedrun tricks involve shine sparks and speed boosting. And yeah, now it's just more movement for just more blindfolded movement through Sector 4 until we get out again. We still need to story-wise deactivate the electrified water pump that broke. We so far just killed the boss. So we're gonna do that now, and in the meanwhile I can talk a bit more about Metroid Fusion in general, I guess. Because what's very interesting in my opinion is that any percent and 100% blindfolded are like very close relatively to the visual speedrun. Any percent visually the top 10 is around, I think, 1:11, like 1 hour 11 minutes to 1 hour 17 minutes long, and my blindfolded PB is 2 hours long, so kind of like 40 minutes difference, 50 minutes difference. And 100% visually is around 1 hour 40 long, and my blindfolded PB is 2 hours 44. So also just like 1 hour more, which is way less than double the time for blindfolded versus visual in such a long and difficult speedrun. I find it very impressive, and I think so far Metroid Fusion 100% was my best blindfolded run I've learned so far. I've got very good with all the movements and all. I'm pretty proud of that. Here we just collect a few more items now, and then we're done with Sector 4. And the next sector we will be visiting is Sector 3, which is kind of the lava warm kind of place. But the first visit in Sector 3 is very short. It is probably the shortest of all the 6 sectors. And here I missed the enemy. You need to kill it in order to open the door here. But yeah, as a quick reminder that I am actually blindfolded right now, and all of this movement is done just by memorizing and listening for the audio. And more cutscenes, more text boxes, time for donations, time for a little break. Get the mind calm.
We still have like 2.5 hours to go. There's super need to get started.
So yeah, now we have Speed Boost, which is one of the very big speedrun upgrades. And the next upgrade we'll be getting are super missiles. But unlike other Metroid games like Super Metroid and Zero Mission, super missiles are actually not a distinct weapon that you have to activate with different button presses than missiles. It's just an upgrade in this game. Which is good and which is bad, because they are definitely way stronger than our beam and our missiles at this point.
You are 43.8 seconds.
But on the bad side, they replace missiles and they they shoot slower. So it's a very good trade-off for sure, but still, especially when we later get to ice missiles, it kind of gets like 50-50 good and bad. But more to that later. Right now, we just set up a speed boost to boost through the whole first room. Just through the walls here. And another speed boost through these walls. As you might have noticed, there are distinct speed booster blocks that you have to only break with having the maximum speed going. And that's why we kind of picked up the speed booster. And here is a hidden missile tank we picked up in 100%. I only shot one block, I didn't notice.
I think I fell down.
But I noticed now, okay. Yeah, you have to shoot 2 times and then you can jump out. Here I set up a Shine Spark diagonally up left. And I pressed a bit too early. It's a very tight window for Shine Sparks. It's right after the 11th step of Samus. And there we go. Right where we need to go. And as you can see here, we open these security locks. And they open the different colored doors. Like you can see the green one to the right. We have earlier opened one in Sector 2. I think for blue, not for blue ones. I'm not sure. Yellow ones, I think. There are 4 total of different colored doors, and we will open them in order so we can actually reach every place at some point. These enemies you can see in this room will later play a big role with ice missiles because we will use them as platforms. But for now we just continue our way to the super missiles. Conveniently taking this missile tank here on our way. And we have a lot of health and a lot of missiles because it's 100%. So there is a safety save before the next boss, as always, but I usually tend to skip it at this point because I am very confident in my next boss fight. It has a very cool strategy, but it is definitely possible to just save there quickly. And there's also a refill station even, so you get full health, full everything.
50.1 seconds ahead at Supers.
No, be on different. This is so stupid.
Here I attempt a little jump, and I get it, just to a bit more distance with speed. You can jump while having the speed booster to gain like a lot of horizontal momentum. And we need to go down here to grab this missile tank. We already have more missiles than we would ever have in any percent. As you can see, I just skipped the refill and the save because I'm confident, but in a marathon setting I would probably take it. And you can hear the shaking, the boss appears. And I just want you to see this strategy, it's very cool. We wait 6 boss steps and then walk and perfectly hit him 3 times. Then 1 normalized jump, damage boost to the left, grab this position so we are exactly above him when he runs, and then just murder him. And I missed 1 missile, which is very unfortunate. I thought I got a quick kill. In case you mess up the setup like I did now, you can just repeat the same process again.
Bad.
Loses about 20 seconds, but yeah, one missile short. It's definitely a very cool setup, blindfolded though, to be like exactly in position for all the hits. So yeah, that was Sector 3 boss. We have just one E-tank of health, but very soon there will be an E-tank on our way. Right here behind this wall. And as you could see me do there, I stored the speed from the Shine Spark, from the speed boost, during the door transition. So I went neutral in the door transition and then held down. And that way, the first frame I enter the new room, I perfectly, always in the same position, get the energy stored, which is very good. And here I recharged even though I didn't need. Happens sometimes. But yeah, this is generally how the whole game goes blindfolded. As you can see, movement is very, very fluid. It is extremely impressive to even myself that it's so fluid and fast compared to the visual run. Usually blindfolded always takes a lot of time for normalization and for setups and everything, but Metroid Fusion goes very, very fluid. And I'm very impressed by the audio work of this game. There are a few problems here and there, especially later in the run, because if like more than 11 audio channels I think get used at the same time, with like background music, enemy sounds, etc., then all different kinds of audio gets eaten, which is not so good. But I will point that out later when it actually happens. And it's especially annoying in some boss fights because you're basically blind and deaf, so not so fun blindfolded. Now we go to Sector 6 though.
You are 44.7 seconds ahead at S6 terminal.
Which is also still pretty scary. As I said earlier, Sector 1 till Sector 4, or like maybe Sector 6 also, are like the scary parts of the run. It's the early game where you don't have much health and not much upgrades yet, and the bosses are kind of finicky. After Sector 6 it gets a bit more calm. It's just basically more movement, like easy bosses. And then we reach kind of the mid part of the run, where the difficulty extremely ramps up again. And then until cleanup in 100% it stays very difficult until the very end for sure. So this a bit more calm middle part is definitely appreciated. Just grabbing a few more items on our way through Sector 6. With different setups. As you can also see in Morph Balls, sometimes I jump in tight spaces against the ceiling, like up and down. That is to hear how much blocks I have between me and the ceiling. It's kind of a way of locating myself. And you can see there are these blue viruses flying around through the air. And if we hit them, they damage us and knock us back, which is not good. Because it can happen that they knock us back in very inconvenient places. But it's mostly fine, because you can freeze them when you hit them. So I run and mostly shoot like up left, for example, to freeze them in place. And also very convenient, there are a lot of E-tanks just on the way of the normal route. And what is this? The Sykes returns. We will also skip this encounter a bit faster than just waiting for it to go away. as you will see in a second. We wait for the jump like this, jump afterwards, run, and just run away from him. All timed by different cues. There is a safety safe to the left, which I usually take, but this time I decided not to because I'm confident. And here is a hidden missile tank again. And there we go. And the next boss fight is Ceres. No, Ceres was Sector 4.
Freaking no safe.
I have no idea what the official name is of this boss, but it's a big orb if you want. And the problem with this boss fight is it's pretty random. It's probably the most random boss fight of the game. Because the ball just kind of flies wherever it wants and you have to hit it with your charge beam. And I usually wait for it to damage me, and then during the knockback I release my charge beam. It mostly hits.
Pretty random, so I might die.
Or I just shoot. Like you can see, usually I'm inside it when I release my charge beam.
This one's where it gets so far.
Oh my god, this was an incredibly fast fight. That was insane. And now second phase, the usual missile orb. And I'm still, yeah, I was still checking if it's not the first phase. Now I noticed that I need missiles. I was surprised myself by how fast it went. And yeah, for the records, this run I did yesterday, so
Such a fast fight, what the fuck?
I haven't seen this whole run myself yet. Wow, that's a big gold.
Just golden by like 30 seconds.
47 seconds to be fair. That's an incredibly good boss fight.
Best fight I've ever seen.
So that was Sector 6 boss fight. And now, as you might see, we have a new suit, the Varia suit, which is, in the opinion of like every human being, the most ugly thing on Earth. But okay. You can feast your eyes on this beautiful yellow thing. Or green, or puke. Here we set up for another missile tank hidden in the wall, in the ceiling. Oh, and the enemy knocked us away from jumping inside. I think I got trolled here a lot. Yeah,
Piece of fuck.
I'm trying to search the enemies with my beam and with the missiles, but I cannot find them all.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
And I lost a lot of health to E-tanks just to this one little room. There we go.
God, I might die.
It's pretty scary with health on the way back from Sector 6. I think I go safety safe here.
I should say.
Yeah.
I'm so freaked out.
There are a lot of safety saves everywhere on the route, so in marathon settings I will definitely save a lot. It only takes like 6 seconds or something to save, so it's definitely no big time loss to be consistent.
Lucky.
Here are just a few more rooms that we need to proceed. Using various methods like wall jumps, as you can see here. And I'm playing very careful at this point, because... Oh, here I opened the door.
What?
I often pause when I need time to think, as you might see right now. I shot left and opened the door, so I was confused by where I am, because I thought I'm right here, below the ladder. But of course I figured it out quickly. So now I'm just proceeding the normal way. And yeah, I'm playing very cautiously right now, defeating all the enemies in the way, because health is a big issue in Sector 6 too. Not so much in 100%, but in any percent at least. Collecting carefully all the enemy drops, defeating as much as possible, and all of that. And yeah, as you might see, I very often know where the enemies are, because even if it's random how they move, it is not random where they spawn. So I know at least where they are initially, and I can kind of judge to where they should be when I am in this room at time XXY. So that is at least very good. So that was Sector 6. Next up is Sector 5, which we will see a lot of times. We will a total of 4 times visit this. Same route kind of thing. And Sector 5 is luckily one of the more easier sections, so it's very good that we have to see exactly this one so often. It is the famous ice area, and now with our new Varia suit that you can see... Oh no, I thought now comes the cutscene. But with the new Varia suit we have gained the ability of surviving extreme cold areas. So we can now actually enter the ice area, Sector 5. And again going through our hub world, having a little break with all the elevators. And for Blindfolded Speedrun community, just for the notice of people who are unaware, we kind of have the rule set that a single segment run is definitely without blindfolded pauses, so a single session, not taking the blindfold off, no outside help, just yourself and the audio. That is kind of the rules that we wish people would follow. We have different categories for sure for longer runs where pauses and breaks are definitely considered normal and okay and everything, but for like shorter runs like this is 2 hours, we definitely encourage people to do it in one unassisted, unpaused, unbreaked session. Just because there is the possibility that one might look at notes, one might, if someone forgets a room, that he might quickly check, like peeking in an exam, for example. And here we can see Sector 5 beautifully with ice. And there's not that much going on in Sector 5. We need to speed boost here through a few blocks. And there's kind of a circle route that we will go a few times. First to the very bottom, and then up again, and then to the very bottom again, and very up again. Because we'll need to pick up the ice missiles here. But in order to do that, we need to first open the security lock for the 3rd level doors. The yellow ones, as you can see to the right. And they are conveniently placed right here at the very bottom. We'll open them in 1 second. There it is. And yeah, upcoming are the ice missiles. I can talk about them a bit. As you can see, our missiles right now just do damage a lot, and here also a very beautiful blindfolded setup with normalized movement to get to this ladder. Ice missiles have the ability to, as the name suggests, freeze stuff, for example enemies. Which is, in theory, very, very good and cool. But in practice, it's just 50-50 so cool, because we cannot one-hit, one-shot kill enemies anymore, because we at least need 2 missiles, 1 for freezing, 1 to kill.
You are 1 minute.
So while they got stronger, while the missiles got stronger, they also kind of got weaker in terms of you need 2 missiles now for everything. And here I attempt a blindfolded setup to freeze this Ripper in an exact position beneath us. Then I check with a normal beam, like this, if it's the right Ripper and not one off screen, to get this very precise jump blindfolded, and this was first try very good. Because with the freeze missiles, I can hear if I froze a Ripper or not, but I cannot hear the distance of which one I froze. And there are 2 potential ones I could freeze from that position. But with the normal beam, I can actually hear the difference of the distance too. That's what I was doing there. And I, just like in any percent, I said the same thing at this point, but as you might have noticed, I'm kind of explaining just the general speedrun and not particularly my blindfolded strats that I use for each room. Just because there is so much going on blindfolded, and it's already so natural to me to just play like this. It's kind of very, very difficult for me to explain and describe what my actually thought process is. For example, here I listen for this enemy, 1 jump right, 1 jump up with a left hold, jump to this wall, ledge grab, turn around, shoot, ledge grab. Kind of like, it's a very systematic kind of thinking. And every single room has like a unique strategy to them. So I would need to pause and like play every room in slow motion to explain it properly, blindfolded, with strats and everything. That's why I kind of just go with the normal speedrun and just have you have in mind that in the down right, as you can see, I am actually playing it blindfolded. I hope it is understandable what I mean with that. But it's very interesting. I'm very happy that I can talk about at least like the general speedrun and a few of my blindfolded setups. I think it very much is needed, especially since it's such a niche and unknown kind of category. Excuse me. And you can hear there is an alarm going on suddenly. That is because in Sector 3 there was something, an explosion or something, a virus got spotted. And now we have 6 minutes, we are locked to a countdown to get to the very deepest parts of Sector 3 and get rid of the enemy. And even blindfolded 6 minutes is way more than enough. You can see me struggling a bit with the elevators here. Elevators, by the way, are the hardest enemy and biggest boss fight in the whole game. Blindfolded, it's so difficult. You need to count like exactly 2.5 steps to be perfectly on top. But you need to like check, and it always fails. It's kind of funny because even the easiest things visually can be such a big challenge in blindfolded, and it's kind of funny to think about. But yeah, I usually finish in like 3 minutes this whole section, so we use the same route as the first visit in Sector 3, but in this particular room we go down instead of up. I use different enemy audio cues to when I need to stop to just fall through the whole room. And now we can see lava for the first time. Our seat is not strong enough to withstand lava, so we take a lot of intentional damage here to get to these positionings. And there are also these flames going up. They are random. They can hit you, but if you react quickly enough, you can re-grab the ladder on the top of the ceiling. And here, as you can see, I very precisely time my ice missiles on these long enemies, as I said earlier. to freeze them in place and use them as platforms, in this room for example. And like this, I can secure a way even without looking through these rooms where frozen enemies need it. Here I tried to kill everything. Oh, but the enemy hit me off, so I need to reset my position to this door and then try again. And then proceed normally. This is a very difficult room. I struggled a lot with it in the beginnings of my runs, but it got way better by now. I'm just carefully taking out all the enemies in my way. And that was very close to falling. It's just the usual procedure of mine, that I do it as fast as possible, but I still try to be as consistent as possible. So I try to take care of all the enemies, be safe with how I proceed. I check with different missiles if there is anything in my way. All these kind of things. And here I missed the idol 2 times, I didn't hear it. And you can see there is this red X spawning again, filling up all my health, all my missiles. And another orb fight with a beam and I just, in a very fixed rhythm, 2.5 sounds. Go left, right, turn around missile. Boom. And the last one. And that's white beam. And if you would look at the splits right now, there is a very interesting split coming on called Animals. And that is because this game also has the very famous Animals of Metroid in it. Especially GTQ participants and viewers would know it, I think. Unfortunately, to spoiler you a bit, it is not possible to have a choice in killing or saving them. We always save them in Fusion. But yeah, right now we just proceed back to the beginning of Sector 3. And I think I will just let you enjoy the audio work to get the blindfolded experience again. Just try to listen for all the different audio cues for a while. Look at all the rooms that I proceed and how I proceed them, and try to figure out what I listen for and all. So many hits.
You are 1 minute and 37 seconds ahead at S3.M.
that was Sector 3. Now we just head back to the main area of the game, the space station asteroid thing. So we for now are done with the sectors. Because the computer sends some unknown life forms in the upper parts of the space station, and we are heading there. Kind of all rooms we already saw, besides very soon the new ones, but it's interesting because now we have high jump. For example, this room is very different just because the different jump height that we have now. And trying to find the elevator again. And now comes another very interesting room with ice missiles and freezed enemies. Very particular setup. We wait for the spawn, missile, go into the corner, jump, missile the other one, perfectly normalized jump onto this edge, turn around, wait for the enemy to unfreeze, lure him, freeze him, and then jump 2 times and we are up on the door. Setups like this exist for every single room. I've created and threaded every single room of this game. Another one of these frozen setups coming out now. Freeze this, jump to the right, freeze up, jump right, left, jump left, right, and right again. Those kind of setups are what I usually use.
You are 2 minutes and 13 seconds ahead of animals.
And there are the famous animals. And for a speedrun it's not so cool because it's random how long they take to get out. They can be everywhere in the background in these windows, and
Oh no, that was good.
it's kind of it can take from like 10 seconds to 30 seconds, I think. Another little hidden missile tank here. But yeah, that was animals. We have to save them. There's unfortunately no choice, so no kill or save the animals incentive this time. What would be very interesting in my opinion, I also said it in the any percent run, is I think the absolute coolest incentive would be an any percent blindfolded speedrun of Metroid Fusion, with the incentive of mid-run changing the category to 100% if it's met. Because all the items I can basically pick up whenever that I skip in any percent. I can pick them up in cleanup, I can pick them up during second revisits of sectors, and it would create a very dynamic and like very exciting change of pace, suddenly changing the whole like category during the actual run. I personally think that would be a very cool idea. And I will also submit that like that to GDQ. But now we need to head back to Sector 5 again, where we were very early, I don't know the words, I'm sorry. But we need to head back to Sector 5 again to grab our next upgrade called the Power Bombs. And Power Bombs are the second like used item, like missiles that we can use with the R button.
Besides the RNG and stuff, I think I'm getting
And it's the usual thing, you know, from Metroid games if you are familiar with them. You morph ball and you can place a power bomb that basically explodes and destroys everything in the whole area. Unfortunately, as cool as it sounds, in Blindfolded it's kind of annoying because the power bomb is extremely loud and eats every single other audio cue. So we have to be very careful in using them.
tons of grinding notes too.
But they open a lot of new paths and items, so that's at least good. And that's also one of the few upgrades that you get without fighting a boss, actually, same as with ice missiles. So right now we are in the more calm and easy section of the run, as I said earlier. We are 1 hour 12 in, basically halfway. Or close to halfway, let's rather say this. We just make the same way through Sector 5 as we did earlier. And grab our power bombs. And in case I told you guys about the Freezing Ripper E-Tank that we got here with this very particular setup in the next room. And if you would miss that in the first try, I would just continue the run normally and try it again now without losing actually time. Because we have to go the same way again. I would just go here and try again with the Ripper. But now we have P-bombs, so we can access a new path here. And there is an old friend of ours. The Sykes. This time we use a bit of a different strat, because with ice missiles you can actually freeze Sykes. And we use it for a Sykes skip, jump perfectly over these missiles. Beautiful, not a single hit of damage. It's all timed with Sykes' footsteps and the shots that he does. And that was the first power bomb tank. They will be more frequent now because we have it. This room is very nice for blindfolded. It shows a lot of different normalized strats. 2 right jumps, straight up, 2 left jumps, ladder. Very easy, very simple, but beautifully executed in my opinion. But yeah, as you might have noticed, during the run I'm not talking at all myself basically, because I have to focus a lot. And I find it very difficult to count all these numbers and at the same time commentate. But coming up, a big difference between any percent is this particular power bomb tank, which is very impressive blindfolded. It is a lot of hard counting of enemy damage. I very often hear this room is even casually very difficult, because the floor is crumbling. You have to perfectly freeze the rippers in the middle of the floor and then jump as a morph ball over them. And I found this very cool setup to count it perfectly in the middle. Perfect first try. Easy every time. It's very good. So those kind of setups with like very precise timing, very interesting and different approaches are mostly appearing in 100%, especially during the cleanup. There are a lot of very interesting items we have to get. That's why I personally think 100% is definitely the more interesting to showcase category, because it's not much longer, but it contains so much more interesting movement and strategies. On top of that, it's also still safer because you pick up more items and you are not so limited by health and missiles and everything. So in my opinion, 100% is definitely the cooler category, even to run. But yeah, we just proceed our way to Sector 5, back to the entrance again. And I missed the ledge grab there, but backed up with help of these ladders. All good, all backups are working.
Okay.
And now with the finishing of Sector 5.2, this was basically the easy part of the run that I told you about. Now the difficulty ramps up extremely high again, because the next boss that is upcoming is the space jump boss called Yakuza. Many people know it also as the spider boss. And we need a very particular setup for a speed kill in order to get it down pretty quick. but that will come a bit sooner. For now we just need to return to our ship, where we started our mission. But oh no, the elevator broke. So we need to take this kind of secret path here. And what is this? Our good old friend Ridley. But it's frozen and he crumbles. Also hidden power bomb tank in this wall here. Very fluid, no problems at all. These enemies also do a lot of damage, close to one whole E-tank. But here we stop with the speed booster actually, because we don't want to run through these blocks to the right, but we want to pick up this missile tank with the help of the power bomb. And we wait for 7 beats for these blocks to respawn so that we don't fall down, and then we can proceed our normal way to the ship. And we use this particular setup here to place this power bomb for the down left power bomb blocks to already disappear. It just set up a longer speed boost for when we return later. And conveniently enough, our ship heals us to full health, full missiles, and we get a free save even on our way, which is pretty convenient.
Yakuza. My run died last time at this split after Yakuza, so hopefully it goes better now.
Yep, and now the difficulty ramps up extremely high again. The next boss is very difficult, especially on any percent. 100% is pretty okay with this boss. Here I react to the landing sound on the platform. There is conveniently another E-tank coming up very soon. Timed jumps over these pirates. Getting that E-tank.
The biggest fear is that they once jump over this fucking E-tank.
And now we just run down right, down left with missile spam, beam spam to get these little holes into the floor. You will hear me spam the beam a lot during the run, because I use it to locate enemies, doors, walls, basically everything I do with echolocation with the beam. And yeah, as I said, step counting is the biggest fast form of movement. But here we come up with Yakuza. I need to position myself exactly in the middle of the next room with 3.5 steps of counting, and then I can get some early missiles in. You see the line in the middle? That's where I position myself, exactly like that. Get some missiles in. And now it's kind of random how long he takes to open his mouth again, but we always get grabbed, shoot up missiles and check if he opens his mouth. It can take from 1 to 4 tries. Now it's the 3rd. Perfect. And that was the perfect fight. Second phase, the randomness starts, because you can see Yakuza jumps around like crazy, and he's only vulnerable when he is not spinning. And what I do is stand in the corner and shoot missiles upright while jumping a bit. And in 100% it's pretty okay, because we have 1 billion missiles approximately. We can just spam missiles as much as we want. In any percent we only have 80 missiles total, so we have to be very conservative with our missile count. That was phase 2, perfect. Now the orb fight again. We can loop the orb if we get it to work. It doesn't seem like I get... Oh, now it seems... No. We can loop him with 4 steps, left, right, shoot down, turn around missile, jump over. Kind of like the last 2 hits. And that was Space Jump.
24 seconds ahead at space.
Okay,
Now-
died, basically, it's escape.
Yeah, now Space Jump is a big topic in Blindfolded because it gives us the ability to jump in air, as you might see, but it's very, very difficult to maintain the right rhythm to do it. Because if you press too late or too early, the space jump doesn't work, and you either do not gain height or you just do not jump again at all. So I use a very particular rhythm, kind of 2/3 of the jump height, and then I jump again. Or in terms of audio, I use 2.5 of the space jump beats, and then I press again. But it's very difficult and inconsistent. It's a very not normalized form of movement, unfortunately. So as cool as it sounds to jump very often in air, it's very hard. And here's a very dangerous Sykes encounter. We use missiles to freeze again. Power bomb, continue to freeze it. And then make our way through this room. Still not over, still more rooms. The problem with Sykes here is that he does tons of damage. And here we just chill as a ball, because Sykes is a bit stupid, he doesn't see us. It's pretty funny. But yeah, 2 hits of Sykes and we're basically dead, which is not so nice. Especially since the enemies in the next rooms also do tons of damage. I think a whole E-tank. First try space jumps up here. I practice space jumps a lot, but they are still very inconsistent. Now this room in 100% contains one of the more annoying power bomb tanks, because there is a hidden hole in this wall to the right here. And I try to power bomb it open, and then search for the exact moment when to fall, and then turn around. But I don't know how far I am exactly. And I barely missed it, but I jumped back in, so that was kind of lucky that I got inside here. It's pretty difficult to get this power bomb tank, in my opinion. It's one of the more difficult items. And then we proceed our way normally to the next boss, which comes up very soon. Here is the safe station. I will use it even. And the next boss has a very interesting strategy for Blindfolded, very different from the visual speedrun. And especially in 100%, you could call it kind of a cheese way to kill the boss. Here I missed the space jump, so I reset the room to not get hit by the enemy coming from the right. And here we are. Another eye door coming up, and the boss. I have very bad luck with eye doors. Now I want you to look at this strategy. That's it. We just damage boost onto this particular part down right into the boss. Hold down right and spam missiles, as you can see on my input display. You would expect something very fancy and difficult for this boss fight with all his different phases, but you can literally just damage boost into him. Then another orb fight with the beam, 2.5 beats, turn around, shoot a missile. 1, 2, and boom.
40 minutes and 28 seconds ahead at plasma beam.
We have acquired the plasma beam, a new weapon beam. It's now fancy and has a loud sound effect when you shoot. And the next split, again, extremely difficult. Here is a very particular Shine Spark. We wait for 3 beats for this enemy to do his round, and then we can use the edge to perfectly position ourselves for this up Shine Spark. Grab another hidden E-Tank here. And then we are currently in Sector 2, by the way, as you can see from the layout maybe. It was like we got in here through this shortcut after the Sykes thing. And now we just make our way out again. But we pick up one more missile tank that we left out earlier. Because now we are more upgraded, it's way faster to pick it up now. Because we can just freeze all these enemies and jump over them and all. Very easy, very fast. And that is Sector 2. And here the enemy pushed me off this cliff, but I noticed that I fell down again, so I can back it up easily. And now upcoming, probably the hardest boss fight of the whole run. Called Nightmare, and that for a reason. It's again in Sector 5, so we'll visit our favorite ice location again. And Nightmare is a very, very weird boss fight, because I have a strategy to set up the first 3 phases, but it is still kind of random and it doesn't work always. But more to that when we actually get there. For now, good old hub area, elevators, time for donations, time for chillouts. And we proceed our way to Sector 5. Again, elevators are very difficult to find. And now I will be setting up a very precise Shine Spark to boost through a lot of this area. It is not that extremely precise, but it's definitely a few frames only, so not much lenient either. And I use, for the first time in this run, pause buffering for Shine Sparks. And pause buffering in Blindfolded is a very powerful tool, as you will see right now here. I hope I get it first try, I don't remember. I pause exactly at 2.5 steps. Boom. Perfect. Beautiful. Because you can kind of pause buffer the Shine Spark even when the actual speed sound doesn't play. And here... Oh, this was very good. There is this hidden passage that you need to missile, shoot open, and then grab and get in for this E-Tank here. And then we do the morph ball jump setup. But it's very easy to miss, and if you miss it, you cannot get this item before you defeat the boss, because it's water and, as you can see, our movement is slow again. And we cannot get the height to reach that platform again if you miss it the first time. So what we need to do if we miss it is come back after the boss, which loses, of course, a bit of time. So I'm very glad I got it here first try. We continue our way. Pick up a few more items and then the boss fight will start. It's a hidden power bomb tank here. As you can see by the item count, we are already pretty loaded with items and health and missiles. And the major route of the game, any percent, is also basically very close to done. Like 4 major upgrades left. And here is conveniently a save that we always will take, because Nightmare is so easy to die in. So let's talk about Nightmare a bit. The first, I have a very particular setup that I found with the help of a community member called Rosu. We kind of combined our strats for this fight, and it is now what it is. We position ourselves in a very precise spot where he doesn't hit us for the first phase, and use 2 charged beams and a missile to get him into the next phase. Then I take a few steps to the right, shoot 2 charge beams up, get damage boosted and shoot another charge beam and a missile and another charge beam up. There he is. And the rest I will just see. As you can see, 1 perfectly dodged, second phase, 1 charge beam, 2 charge beam, damage boost, charge beam, missile. And here the setup failed. This is not a good fight.
Very bad.
This is very likely to die already.
Oh no, I suck.
As you can see, time is kind of slowed down and my movement is like in water. And Nightmare also eats a lot of audio cues, so I just try to get underneath him to get the shot up into his damage area right now to back it up, but it's very hard to find him.
Oh no, dude.
And the problem about this whole fight is that... Oh, perfect shot. I think 1 more. There we go. This next phase is the actually hard and random one only, so we already lost 5 E-tanks. Now we position and spam missiles as much as we can. Get them to low health. And now he moves kind of randomly. I try to lure him into exactly a position where I can get missile shots into his face. But it's difficult and my health is getting pretty low. And here I get the setup. And this is the boss fight. Still not over. Another orb that we can loop though, so if everything goes well we take no damage. Jump over, 4 steps, turn around missile, jump over, repeat. Perfect loop. Perfect phase 4. Okay. Still very, very difficult and scary boss fights. And if that was not enough, now comes probably the most difficult movement part of the whole run, too. At least any percent wise.
Always scary.
It's very, very scary, the fusion. As you can see, we now have the gravity suit. Way cooler than Varia, by the way. And we can use it to walk fast underwater and under lava. And what I do here is set up a speed boost to the door to the right, but the enemies are kind of obstructing me, so I need to kill them first. And I will try to pass buffer the second breaking of blocks. Right here. Spark. And then just a bit too far to the right. Because we need to pause buffer the second block explosion and then move between the 2 blocks and get the Shine Spark up to actually get the hidden power bomb tank that's there. And we need to pause buffer the second block because we also, while getting the P-bomb tank, need to open the path to the right to get further. One. 2. There we go. Now we have the power bomb tank and we can go to the right, but we lost a lot of health already, as you can see. Which is very scary because there are a lot of very, very scary enemies coming up. But there's a safety save here, fortunately, which I will obviously take. And now there's a room full of enemies in which a missile tank is hidden, so we need to take it in 100%. And these enemies do like 50 damage, I think, or like 60, so very scary and scary. But the enemy above us drops a red X that heals us a lot, so I grab that for safety. Get the missile tank and out of here. From now on, basically every item that we pick up in terms of missile tank, powerbomb tanks and everything is different than in any percent already. So a lot of more content. Also, here's a hidden P-bomb. Might be on very low HP. I always try to keep track of my HP gauge, like mentally, but it's pretty difficult to mathematically count how much damage you got and everything. Here I use 5 steps to count to perfectly be under those missile blocks. Use more power bombs to make my way to get some items and all. These fishes are all very random in movement and do a lot of damage, unfortunately. Here one of the newer strats. I place a bomb, go left and then right to hear the grab of the edge, because underwater also a lot of audio gets eaten, so I can't really hear. And in this area there is this maze kind of thing where you can very easily get lost, so I absolutely want to be sure where I am.
Very good.
And here is the last lock of doors, the red doors. Security level 4. And yeah, basically we only have 3 more items left to get upgrades, and then the big cleanup starts for 100%. Also, space jumps are difficult. Okay, there you go. Here's a hidden passage in which a E-tank is hidden. And you might notice, also for the morph ball, there's like no sound underwater, so I just go by seconds and beats. And we need to kill those 2 enemies with very precise missiles. I try to hear if I killed them or not. There, I could hear the kill and confirmed, and then I can go through the door. Fortunately, when you pick up an E-tank, it also gives you full health, so this is very convenient in the fusion placed. Full health, a lot of E-tanks, very good. More space jumping coming up. I time myself to still stand still in this little alcove. Got up here very easily, very nice. Another missile tank hidden here. And you will see there will be a lot of fish that we need to kill first. Very good. And space jump up there to this little hole, which is pretty precise and difficult to jump through, honestly. Not quite enough. There we go. And more space jumps coming up. I use a lot of power bombs in these sections to just get rid of all the enemies that float around and everything. First try, very good. Get up there, out of here. And the next room has again some unique setups. Here I didn't notice that I did not bump the second wall. Jump over this enemy attack. And here I will check for the enemy above me. There, I could hear the sound. Shoot 2 missiles. Because we need to freeze this little enemy to the right in order to mothball over it. Otherwise it bloats up and you have like no passage through it. And then we set up a speed boost here to get to this right corner here. Kill the enemy perfectly. And now speed boost to the left again, because we need to go 1 level below and there are speed blocks right here. And right now, very precise shine sparks. A bit too much. I need to shine spark through this little hole in the ceiling. It's exactly 15.5 steps, but it's very difficult to pause correctly. Okay, there we go. Second try. Very good. Get some more hidden items. These kind of shine sparks are, in my opinion, what makes 100% very interesting to watch as a normal viewer. Here we messed up this room a bit. You can either do it very quickly and jump over the enemies with space jumps before they spawn. But here I failed again. In that case you can freeze the enemies like this and do a normalized setup to get up here. Get rid of all the enemies with the power bomb. And that's the fusion. The fusion is another missile upgrade that allows us to charge our missile beam. And it explodes in this extremely big missile explosion and freezes everything in a radius, as you will see now. We will use that a few times for very specific setups in the cleanup section. So basically we only have 2 more bosses left and then the cleanup will start, where we'll grab all the items that we have left behind so far. And the next thing we do is go to sector 6 again and pick up the wave beam. Another last beam upgrade. It allows us to shoot through walls, I think. But first, in Sector 4 we have already all items beside this 1 powerbomb tank here. So with this basically our Sector 4 cleanup is done. I used the setup to get precisely up here, but it's a lot to explain actually, for just like a few jumps. But it's more difficult than it looks blindfolded for sure. Take a recharge, the fusion always takes a lot of health and missiles. And now the PC tells us to go back to Sector 6 because there was something. The security robot from Sector 3 was spotted there, going rampage. So we kind of need to go and stop it. So we basically walk the same way from Sector 6 again that we did before. but then use a little bit of a different route to get into new areas. But yeah, I very much hope that my commentary at least explains a bit more about the general speedrun. It's again, very difficult for me to explain what's going on blindfolded with my strategies, but I think it is visible, like, at least a bit more that, oh, I got a quick jump. There is a few frames where you can press the jump button after a speed boost in store transition to get like very much horizontal momentum in the air. Kind of cool that I got it. So those are all rooms we already know. But here we take a different approach and go through this door to the right. And see this area for the first time. That we can access now with the help of power bombs. This split is, compared to the splits before, very easy. We just need to run here, basically. There's no chance of dying whatsoever. There are basically no difficult enemies. We just need to run here, spawn the boss with the warning sound that you can hear. Little shine spark up here, gain some speed. And the next boss fight again has a very particular blindfolded setup. We charge the beam, do 2 right jumps, wait 8 steps of the boss and release and just mash missiles for the first few hits. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, boom. We got the 1 missile and 1 charge beam in. Not so much, you can get much more. But then we place a power bomb, 1 right jump and grab the ceiling, go to the left corner, defeat the missiles he shoots, and from here we can just be safe in our spot, do not take any damage, and just shoot missiles into him every time he runs towards us. Or miss him completely if your timing is bad. The timing is pretty strict, you have to wait like 4.5 steps and then start shooting. Like this, 3 missiles. It's usually a 2 cycle or a 3 or 4 cycle. This is a 4 cycle, I think. So, not the fastest boss fight, but a very safe one. Oh, this was bad. This is a 5 cycle. So yeah. There we go. Defeated the boss. And another orb. It's again a beam upgrade, so 2.5 beats. Left, right, alternates, turn around missile. It's very convenient that these kind of cores always have the same eye-opening speed.
You are 1 minute and 27 seconds ahead at Wave.
Lost a lot of time.
And now I need to talk about the RNG escape.
But now RNG time.
There is, unfortunately, very late in the run,
PB had first try, so it will be
a very, very bad and random section in this game called the RNG escape. At least blindfolded, it's random. Visually it's not a problem at all, but as you will see in a second, we will have a countdown of 1 minute to escape a single room with the help of space jumping. And as I told you before, space jumping blindfolded is not so easy.
try to PB.
And the problem is,
I don't want to lose that.
it's like an explosion kind of thing going on, and it eats all audio, so you are absolutely blind and deaf. You don't hear even if you hit the space jump correctly. You have to rely on your muscle memory. And on top of that, there are Metroids everywhere that you are not allowed to touch, because if you touch them, they will cut your jump, and you will just start to fall. So if you space jump against a single Metroid in the air, you will lose the jump and you basically fall down to the floor. I use this setup here.
Yes.
Check the left wall if there are any Metroids, which are placed randomly. And I got lucky. There are no Metroids in the way, so I can just go here through the door. First try.
Easy.
Extremely nice.
This does not happen in any percent, dude.
But yeah,
I hate this game so
this does not happen usually. I will take into account that this might take up to 10 minutes even in the estimate. This is very random, and I usually get it like second to fourth try if I do no reset runs. And every attempt costs 1.5 minutes, so I will definitely be generous with this section and count a lot of time inside, because I can not really determine what happens there, and it can easily take up to like 8 minutes if I'm very, very unlucky. So that's unfortunately there, especially for any percent. It's very bad if you grind for PBs, because a 1.5 minute time loss, you can see, is a very big time loss at this point. The run is very optimized at this point in terms of movement and all. So casually just losing 1.5 minutes is very bad in PB attempts. Here another E-Tank casually on the way, very nice. And we are making our way through the last item upgrade, called Screw Attack. It's another upgrade for our space jump that allows us to actually do damage with jumping. In this room I count the acid damage that I get. Another hidden power bomb tank here. But in order to get there I need to kill all the enemies that spawn after each other. And here comes the first appearance of golden pirates. You cannot see them because they are off screen, but they are space pirates in golden color. There you could see it. And they only take damage if you are not looking at them. So what you have to do is charge your beam, shoot, look away, wait for the hit, and repeat. It is kind of very annoying, and you will see it very soon in the next room, where there are 2 of them that you need to kill. In this room, you first kill all the enemies to spawn a lot of these axes. And then you charge beam, shoot, look away. Shoot, look away. And then they take damage. And there are 2 of them that you need to defeat. Fortunately, at this point we have a lot of health, so dying is not really a concern. But there is still a save point before the next boss, which we gratefully take. Because, yeah, better to be safe than sorry, for sure. And as I said, especially in marathon settings, it's very nice. And the next boss is our good friend Ridley, the pre-last boss. And Ridley blindfolded is very easy. We just charge our beam and shoot it diagonally up and left with a missile following up until he dies, basically. But he has a very great audio design, and his scream is music to my ears, so I will just let you enjoy and not talk. Absolute beautiful sound design. That's literally how I scream every time when I make mistakes. But yeah, another orb fight, or core fight if you want. Perfectly loopable, just like a nightmare. Very good Ridley fight.
You are 2 minutes and 9 seconds ahead.
And that was the last upgrade of the game.
Sounds very good.
Any percent would be kind of over now, we would just run to the end boss. As you can see, we have now this electric space jump, which is very strong, but again, it's blindfolded, so space jumping is not the very best form of movement, and it's also generally slower than just walking. But now the cleanup section starts of 100%. Now we visit all the different sectors again and collect all the items that we left behind the first visits. And cleanup has some very, very cool and interesting shine sparks and strategies for items. Definitely my favorite part of all Blindfolded Metroid Fusion is this cleanup section. First we need to escape this Ridley area though, so a few more rooms that we need to proceed to. And we now have also the ability to destroy space screw attack blocks, just like a new type of blocks that we can destroy and gain more access to areas with the new jumping attack that we got. And upcoming a very long space jump room. But my rhythm is very good here. And perfectly in the middle. Very good, very good. I will prepare a shine spark here to get through the pirate room that we saw in the very beginning. Perfect. And now the first shine spark tricks come in the cleanup. You will only see basically areas that we already saw now, but with like hidden paths and hidden techniques now. So what we first do is go to the very left of this room and get speed until we break the wall to the right here and try to... Ah, that was too late. We try to... We try to... Oh god, how do you say? I forgot the word. We try to contain the speed after those blocks by pressing down, jumping quickly down here to the edge and shine sparking up. It's very precise and a lot of things go on at the same time there. And then we run back, charge again, charge, boost through the door, recharge on the slope, charge again, and that was too early, that was bad. We need to repeat, I made a mistake. So I go to the left, to the right here, gain some more speed. And I didn't open the door again.
I ripped it right.
Kind of very, very, very stupid mistakes. But all of these tricks will be very precise from now on and very difficult to perform, especially blindfolded. So it is expected to take a few more tries. So here I charge, jump up here and then recharge, count 6 steps, recharge, and up here to this hidden E-tank. There's a lot of recharging and sparking going on in cleanup. It's very fancy and cool. Especially if you know if you've played the games yourself, you know how difficult it can be to properly shine spark and all, and I find it very impressive and interesting to watch when the person is blindfolded. It's another hidden missile tank that we get. We place a power bomb here to just get rid of all the enemies to not be able to hit us. Jump up and out of here. Just a few more items left in Sector 1. Here to the upright is a safe station that we haven't visited earlier, but there is a hidden block here that reveals another missile tank we need. Can go here earlier and just wall jump up here, but with the space jump upgrade it's definitely way easier. And fun fact that the general route for all the items is the same as the visual speedrun right now in Blindfolded. Besides 2 items in Sector 5, which we'll get later than in the speedrun, because we need space jump. Here, setting up another Shine Spark, charging in the door, sparking through the door, getting this missile tank, and another missile tank. And we get another missile tank down here. It's very interesting to time all the Shine Sparks without looking, because all you have to work with is your footsteps, basically. Little setup to get quickly up here in this room. And grab the last item in Sector 1 that's left. Finally, without a Shine Spark. Just pretty precise jump.
That's right.
There we go. A lot of these items are very well hidden for the casual player and are also very difficult to obtain even with looking. Especially later. I definitely had my hard troubles before learning to speedrun this game. Now another Shine Spark setup here. Our Sector 1 cleanup. Charge, break these blocks, Shine Spark to the left, and we get this missile tank. Oh, here I got blocked by the enemy, so I didn't get the speed. So I need to return and repeat. I need to run with speed boost through this wall to actually get the next hidden powerbomb tank. Here we go. Charge. Left Shine Spark. And here we place a power bomb. We were here earlier, but now we can open this hidden path. Get the power bomb tank and we get. Now we need to go to the very low levels of Sector 3 again, where we were in the countdown section with the alarm. But first another hidden powerbomb tank. There are a lot of hidden items in this game for sure. And they are very well hidden, to be honest. In a casual playthrough, you basically have to just powerbomb every single room in order to find them all on your own. Here I got a bit lost with my movement, but easily recovered. And upcoming is a rather difficult space jump again. I will need to count 3, 2, 2, 2 space jump sounds. Because I'm not allowed to hit these blocks with the enemies below me, because they crumble and they will kill my space jump, but I got it first try, very easy. And another missile tank for free. And then we need to open the right side of this wall. And again do a Shine Spark and speed boost setup. For the longest Shine Spark in the game. We'll fly for a few seconds here. I timed six beats after the breaking of the upper block to count that properly. And now we need one more item in Sector 3. Actually more than one, but in the lower parts of Sector 3. Another Shine Spark. Use it to get through this whole room very fast. Just speed boost everywhere through. Here is this little hidden cave area. And with the gravity suit, lava of course doesn't do damage anymore and we can move in our full speed. So very useful to get here through quickly. Lots of power bomb tanks. Set up 5 right jumps, 1 left, 1 right to get up here again. And we continue our way up to the upper levels with the same strategy that we used after the escape sequence. I will leave a few links in the description if you guys are interested, of the uncommented run, of my RTA in Japan run for example, of my strat document where all the different room strats are noted down input by input. And all these kind of things. So if you want to learn a bit more, you can also always contact me. I am very eager to help and explain my strategies. Or if you have any questions about a specific room or strategy that I use, you can always ask me. I will try my best to answer. Here's a very difficult Shine Spark.
I always go for it, I never get it. I should just stop.
Yeah, I always go for it and never get it. That sums it up pretty well. It's very precise, and in the visual speedrun you would expect it, but not blindfolded, I guess. Here we get the last 2 items of Sector 3. This missile tank and a hidden power bomb tank behind this wall that we blow up. Shine Spark after 11 steps. And up here there's another E-tank. There we go. Space jumping up there. That's basically Sector 3 cleanup. 3 more to go. There's another hidden one here, very hard to see and find. And Sector 5 cleanup is still easy. Oh, here I messed up. Okay, I just reset the room to do my normal strat. Yes, this is what you should do. Oh, and I didn't notice that I didn't open the security lock. Uh-oh.
What?
There, we opened it. Okay. So yeah, Sector 5 is still very manageable and easy. But Sector 6 and Sector 2 cleanup especially are extremely difficult and the most impressive part of the whole run. And probably of the whole game even. In Sector 5 what we do is we just need to backtrack through the whole area, do this whole round again to get 2 more items that we forgot earlier. And those 2 items are the ones that in a visual speedrun you would normally collect during the run, but they involve very precise ice missiles on rippers, and it's very precise. I've done it blindfolded before in the without space jump, but the time it takes to set up the rooms and everything takes more than just running through this in the cleanup quickly. So I decided to just take the 2 minutes extra and just go for it in the cleanup. Because you would see right here, there's a hidden path, and in the without space jump we would need to freeze all these enemies, kill all these enemies, but with space jump we can just jump up here and easy peasy get the item. There we go. In like no time at all. It takes a total of like 2.5 minutes to get through the whole section up and down for both items. And it would take like 1.5 minutes alone for one room here with the normal strategies. So as you can see, only 2 E-tanks left until we are full. A few more missiles and a few more power bomb tanks. Not much more to go. Very close to finishing the run. Same as here, we would need to freeze all of these enemies in a very particular order, jump up them without falling down, but like this we can just space jump up, easy peasy, no problems. And we proceed our way back up again. Oh, funny enough, I thought I'm in the next room. You could see me jump to the right with the charge beam. This is exactly what I do here right now. But yeah, I very much hope this commentary is a bit more explaining, because I am very silent during my runs. And I really would like to showcase this. It would be such an amazing run to showcase, in my opinion. One more item left, actually 2 more items left in Sector 5. Oh, I wasn't in my... I set up, we need to jump all the way up here. It's done with very precise space jumping again, which is difficult. Blindfolded, very difficult.
How did I get up here?
Nope. I need to start from the left side. I think I'll realize very soon. Yes.
Oh god, I don't know how to get up.
I quickly forgot how to get up here, but that's the way how to get up.
That sounds right.
Same here. And here I check with the beam if I hit the door. There we go, I heard the door, I know I'm in the right position. Set up the Shine Spark here. 11 steps. Pause buffered. Easy. And through there. Get this missile tank. And the hidden power bomb tank. And yeah, again, quick reminder that I cannot see, so all of these Shine Sparks are still very incredible to me, because I'm very sure I'm worse at them visually. I'm not very good at this game visually. I don't usually run this speedrun wise, so I only worked on this blindfolded. And all the hours I spent was without looking at the game. I need to jump. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to judge height you need. And now Sector 6 cleanup, which is beginning one of the hardest parts of the game, 100% wise. We will need to set up a big Shine Spark here, destroying these blocks, make way, defeat all the enemies, open the door, Shine Spark, and then boost all the way to the left. And there is a room where probably the most precise trick in the second most precise trick in the whole run awaits us.
Here we go.
And there is no normalized setup for this, so you will see. I will need to get this powerbomb tank up there, but it's a window of 1 block only.
This was super good in PB, so...
You will see it's very precise. This little block to the left that I barely missed. I need to exactly be in position to Shine Spark up through it. And if I remember correctly, this will take me a lot of time, and I lost about 2 or 3 minutes here.
Close, fuck. fuck.
It's very difficult. One of the biggest problems is that I'm not sure if I'm too far or too far to the left or like not enough to the left. That's why I get very confused sometimes and don't know if I need to go more or less.
Not far enough, I think.
I try to figure it out,
Second try in PB.
so I'm gonna lose a lot of time here. Not even close.
I think I'm not going far enough, for fuck's sake.
Yes, I am not going far enough for sure. Still not close. Still not far enough.
I think a bit too far.
Oh, very close, but not
No,
close enough.
Fuck.
It's extremely precise. One block is a very little amount of space, especially for blindfolded in an unnormalized setup.
I'm gonna cry, dude. I'm gonna fucking lose the run to this.
So close. The stress is kicking in my past self. Oh, so close.
Far enough. Or maybe too far, I don't know. I super can't tell right now.
There we go.
At least. It's not dead. The run is not dead yet.
And there is the second P-bomb tank where we need to space jump through, which is a shine spark, recharge, jump, and jump again. Boom, first try.
You are 1 minute.
Very precise also, but very nicely executed. You will see there are a lot of shine sparks going on now, and it will remain like that for a while. The next item we get is the space buffer, which is extremely impressive and very different than the visual speedrun does. Because I've actually found a method to pause buffer this consistently, but it's a 60 frames per second game, and pausing frame by frame is very impossible, I would say. So it still can fail sometimes, but it's definitely more manageable than without buffering it. And we need to save here, because if we mess up in a bad way, we can actually soft lock and kill the run here. Because if we need to pause buffer here, and I just missed the A press. We need to pause a few frames after exiting the door, unpause, and on the very first frame press A to jump. Like this. And like this we get up here, and I pause buffer until I hear the first footstep on the crumble block. There, you could hear it. I hold right and grab this block. And then 3 space jumps and I have the bomb.
Yo, let's go, dude.
If I accidentally would shine spark just up there to get the power bomb tank, I would soft lock and would not be able to return to any of the sector until I beat the game. So it's very important that I do this carefully. More shine sparks going on, and very soon is another very difficult trick coming up called the frame jump at least in visual speedruns, people use a frame-perfect jump on a crumble block because they have one frame to actually jump from a crumble block again. Blindfolded, it's also possible, I've done it before, but it's not so consistent, definitely, with just audio and no visual cues. So what I use is the intentional strat, and it's a very precise freeze missile hit on an enemy, as you will see with this particular setup. First I get rid of the other enemies in the area, freeze this guy. If I do not freeze him, it means RNG wise he went to the right side and I would reset the room. But now
Might be too early.
I have counted the damage and perfectly froze him in the middle, so I can just morphball over him. It's 6.5 damage beats there, and very cool to look, at least from a blindfolded strat perspective wise. Still not over with Sector 6 cleanup, there are still more shine sparks and everything to go. We need to store a spark after the start transition, boost to the right. And here is a little puzzle room where you need to shoot these blocks in very specific order to activate these hidden switches. And here I messed up. I opened this one vertical switch, as you could see, and that will lose a lot of time. It happens sometimes, it depends on the beam, how it gets out of your weapon. It's very micro RNG, because we need to shine spark up here, but we need 11 steps, and if the thing is up 5, 6, 7, you only get like 7.5 steps in.
I think I'm just pressing too early. I hope there's not the fucking pillar.
So if the pillar is there, you need to reset the room. And here I got doubtful, and yes, I actually saw that, or like noticed that there is a pillar. So I will reset the room and repeat. Hopefully this time with the correct setup. There we go, it didn't come up. Do a particular set of shots here to activate all the horizontal pillars. And then perfectly shine spark into this E-tank here. One more E-tank to go, only a few items left in the run. Another shine spark on the very edge there, but good pause buffer. One last item in Sector 6 right here, very easy. This missile tank. Oh no, it's a fake. This missile tank. And that's Sector 6 cleanup for you. You just need to go to the next area. And as you could see, maybe after getting screw attack, we unlocked like a little secret passageway between all the sectors, so we don't need to take the hub area between all the different sectors. We can just like get the shortcuts. And here I think I'm in the next room, but I'm actually not. I tried to break these blocks in the last room, but I was not here yet. And the hidden shortcut for Sector 6 is here, in this floor. And as I said earlier, Sector 4 cleanup we already finished, so we just need to pass here and get to the shortcut to Sector 2, which is very conveniently right here in the first room. And Sector 2 cleanup comes, and the infamous so-called Crumble City, aka Hell, because in the next room, it's the most precise and difficult thing in the entire run, even visually. It's a very precise space jump action. You see this labyrinth? The whole floor consists of crumble blocks, and if you touch them, your space jump gets eaten. So you need to very precisely space jump through this entire maze and get these 2 items here.
That's one.
And we got this first try, which is very good already. And perfectly got the second one, first try too. And we save a tons of time here because my gold even was like 7th try or something.
First try Crumble City, dude.
It's insane to get this first try. Insanely good.
If
I-
run PBs.
In a marathon, I will definitely also for this count in at least
Oh my god,
10
this is
minutes
so
or
crazy.
something. So the estimate will be definitely higher than my PB, just because of the RNG escape and Crumble City. Those 2 factors are very
First
important.
Crumble City.
Crumble City can take some time. It mostly loses like 5 minutes, I would say. Now on the way to RNG, as the split is called. It's another very particular power bomb tank that we need to get. And it's called RNG for a reason, because there again we can lose time due to randomness, but it's not bad. Most time we can lose is basically like 3 minutes maybe, if everything goes super bad. And here we get another little missile tank on the way. And the wall closed there, so I need to re-power bomb. There we go. I got a bit confused there, but I figured it out. Basically, what we do is there's a room full of rippers that have like a, I would say, even like 2 in 3, like
Lots of time.
1 in 3 chance to be in the right pattern. We charge a diffusion missile here, shoot it immediately, grab this, drop down, and test if we can jump through. It's like a, I would say 1 in 3 chance to get the right pattern. Something just peeped, I don't know what it was, but okay. And this is the right pattern, second try RNG. Perfect.
There we go.
You are 10 minutes and 29 seconds ahead at S2 RNG.
At this point I know it's a very good run, especially first try Crumble City, such a huge gold. It saved so much time. And now the last few items of the game. We have all E-tanks, we have all power bombs. No, we have 1 power bomb left and just a few missile tanks left. So the next 2 missile tanks that will come up very soon are also very impressive again. It's the infamous chain sparks, where you have to chain around 5 shine sparks into each other with recharging and running over crumbled floor. It looks very impressive, and it's fortunately very consistent blindfolded. I found a very good strat for it. I got it like first try multiple times in a row now.
God, I always forget this room.
Yeah, I forgot the layout of this room, so I try to remember right now. The only thing I forgot in the entire run, I think.
Is it this?
Here, I thought I was in the next room already, but I was not. But here I figure it out.
Oh no, don't get lost, dude, wait.
I lost like 20 seconds due to thinking, processing. It's incredible. It's a lot to remember for sure. It's a lot of rooms in this game. It's a very big game too, so at least I think it is pretty normal to take a bit of time to think sometimes. It has gotten very fluid already in the speedrun for me, so... Anyways, we are back to Sector 2 high jump boss. I just saved here because I wanted to not die or something. And in the boss room of Sector 2 is another hidden passage. And we will use the Shine Spark step count to proceed through this maze here. And I will just say we use the steps 9, 7, 7, 9 and just enjoy. Okay, I messed up once. Now enjoy. Perfect.
Easy fucking easy.
Very, very impressive and nice. As you could see, I pause buffered like right before the walls to perfectly charge the Shine Sparks. And here it's another one just against this wall to get the last missile tank.
You are 9 minutes and 48 seconds ahead at F2.
This is, I think, my favorite room of the whole 100% run. It's incredibly impressive and it's so satisfying to do these chained Shine Sparks. So that was basically Sector 2. Now all that is left is killing the last boss and getting one last item in the space station. So we basically just return to the elevator now. Actually no, we don't go to the elevator, but we take a shortcut to where we came into Sector 2 through the spider boss fight and the Sykes escape. We use this particular way and route here. And then there will be a few rooms full of space jumps again. This is a very precise jump, but I made it first try.
You are 9 minutes and 46 seconds.
Here we need to go to the very top left of the room with space jumps, which is easier said than done. But I manage, I think. Oh no. Come on. Okay, there we go. So, as I said, all that is left is one item and the last bosses to face. Again, it's 100%, so the last boss is way safer than in any percent. We have much more health to use and even much more missiles for the previous boss fights, even if not needed. Also here we need to go through this door with space jumps. Last vertical jump setup. I'd go for the ledge grab, but I missed it. There we go. And here is the last item of the game.
Last item.
Of course, it is very hard to tell still if it is actually 100% right now.
No, don't shock the end boss.
But after you watch the credits, there is a screen with in-game time and item acquired rate. So I will always watch for that. And if you refill before the last boss,
Okay, fuck it.
you can also, of course, if you know the numbers, see if you have all the items and upgrades.
If I choke this boss to hit.
This is the last save point of the game. In case I will die at the last boss, I'll respawn here and have to redo everything. Dying at the last boss is pretty bad, it loses around 4 minutes, but I've never died to it, so I'm fairly confident it will work out in any case.
Oh, this is perfect.
But before the final boss fights, a last very long text cutscene. And you can see me mashing A and holding down on the controller to go fast through these text boxes. That's because if you hold down, the text proceeds very fast, and if you mash A, the next text box appears. So I'm kind of trying to hit whenever a new text box appears. But yeah, this would be a final good time for donations before the run really takes off to the last bosses. And it's kind of the calm before the storm. A lot of text.
I legit can say if this mod fails and at the end this will be my best blindfolded run that I've ever done so far.
Yeah, basically this is 100% Metroid Fusion though. It's very, it's a very impressive run in my opinion, and I really enjoy it. And I would extremely love to showcase it to many people and speedrunners across the world. That's why I will definitely submit this to multiple marathons in the future. And upcoming is the beginning of the last boss fight. We will face Sykes again. But if everything goes well, we will not see it actually, because we have a very particular speed strat here to quick kill it. We will freeze missile him out of screen, then charge plasma beams, charge beams, as you can see, and always release Shoto missile in a perfect rhythm until he dies.
Super good fight.
Very good fight indeed. And then Sykes evolves into this super disgusting creature, which we hit perfectly 2 times. And now we need to hit it a few times with our beam and it should die very quickly. There we go. And now the last orb core of the game. It's the ice beam core, so again 2.5 beats and the usual procedure. It does a lot of damage though, so I try to jump over the ice beam. And here it kind of got stuck in the wrong direction. I don't know why that happened, honestly. And it has a lot of health too, so a lot of missiles needed. There we go.
Okay, that's it.
That's it for this fight. And one last boss and challenge left. But first we need to get the ice beam. But the ice beam flew away. What happened?
Come on, dude.
And because Samus is angry and couldn't get the item, she'll just blow up the whole space station now and turns off the self-destruction. We have 3 minutes now to get back to our ship and escape. Which is, again, more than enough time for sure.
To be fair, very hard last boss.
And while this music is an absolute banger, it takes a lot of audio channels, so it eats a lot of the sound effects that I usually use to navigate, so this is kind of scary not hearing everything, but the layout of these rooms is very simple that I need to go through, so it's very, very easy to get to the ship consistently
Come on, dude.
in around a minute.
Definitely have
And then there is one final boss we need to defeat. And Shine sparked against the ceiling here, don't ask me why. And here we go.
Here we go.
It's the Omega Metroid, a very disgusting creature. But oh no, what am I doing? Oh no, 1 HP, we will die, the run is dead. But no, it's Sykes! He will help us suddenly, he's our friend. No, jokes aside, this is the usual joke you do. But we grab it, full everything, and then we mash. The difficult part about this boss is one attack does a whole tank of damage. And as you can see, I just mash as fast as I can and have to hit his chest with a diagonal beam shot. And he stuns locks us with his claws also, so we need to mash out of it. But a very good fight, very impressive, good game. And as soon as Samus hits the teleport into the ship, it's time. That's it. That is Metroid Fusion 100%.
You improved your run by 11 minutes.
Oh my god. Yo guys, what's up? Freaking 244. And now time for cute animals indeed. Yo Mark, what's up dude? And Kalski the Destructor. I will meet us a little bit to talk a bit more about the run itself. So now the credits play and everything is over and we will see the in-game time and the percent counter. But as I said, I really hope this gets into some nice marathons. Especially, I very much hope for GDQ. Metroid Fusion is a extremely popular speed game and Metroid game too. It was like in close to every GDQ so far, every year. The history was like in 2013 there was a 100% run by Kirby Master in 1 hour 50 minutes. Then there was a race in 2014, any percent. Another any percent race in 2016. Then in 2017, for the first time, a more challenging category came, called 0% by JRP. And in 2019, Scotty was running any percent with memory corruption, a new glitch that was found that skips half of the game. So I would really like to continue this tradition of Metroid Fusion and be able to live up to all these expectations of our communities. It would be extremely cool, and I think it's a very impressive run worth showcasing. So yeah, if you would like to see that in your event, or in case any viewer would like to see that at some events, I am very appreciative of any support that I can get. Just people wanting to see these runs, these types of runs, is all I need for sure. And yeah, as I said, I've run at many different live events already, mostly online, but also offline events like RTA in Japan. So I definitely know how it feels to run blindfolded in an actual event. It's very stressful, but also a very cool experience for both runner and viewers. Especially since many people don't really know about blindfolded speedrunning. It's a very nice showcase. So yeah, that's basically Metroid Fusion 100%. As I said, in my opinion, it's the better of both categories between any percent and 100%. But both are very cool for sure, and 100% is just a bit more safe, though a bit longer, and more impressive at the end. And it was also deathless, by the way, this run, so the in-game time is actually accurate. I think it was a 2:01 clear time. 2:01, yes, that's very, very good. And items, 100%. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Metroid Fusion 100% blindfolded commentary by me, Bubzia. I really hope you enjoyed it, and see you next mission, I guess.